What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So we actually have some very big news that is coming out this afternoon regarding the bipartisan infrastructure package and the budget reconciliation bill that Democrats want to pass for about $3.5 trillion. We also have some news regarding hazard pay, a $1,000 stimulus check to certain government employees. We're also going to address how Janet Yellen is going to tackle this debt ceiling and when she says this could occur. And then we're going to talk about the eviction protections and what is currently going on within the CDC. So there's a lot of stuff to discuss, so let's jump right into it. First, I just want to thank you guys for continuing to support the channel. Always hitting that like button, it really does help out. But consider subscribing so that I can continue to keep you updated on everything that is currently going on. So, here's what we're hearing today. The bipartisan infrastructure package looks like it's getting closer and closer to passing. What we heard just a short while ago, according to The Hill and Politico, is the Senate had just one issue they had to deal with. Initially, they had about a dozen. Yesterday, they had one. That one issue, they had to figure out funding for public transit. That was it. Public transit. That was the issue that was, well, technically holding them up. Well, according to these sources this morning, that actually has been agreed upon. What we are hearing right now is that Senator Chris Coons, who is a fairly close friend with President Biden, he is actually saying that he supports a bill that does not include any public transit funding. Here's the reason why. He says that another bill is coming on the heels of this bipartisan bill. So if Republicans do not want to provide any support, any additional funding for public transit at this time, so be it. Let's just pass this bill. He says that right now, and multiple Senate Democrats agree on this as well. They say passing a bipartisan bill that has hundreds of billions of dollars for roads, bridges, railways, seaports, and broadband is such a big win for both parties. We just need to get it done. And everybody understands that right now, if they do not pass a bipartisan bill, the budget reconciliation bill will be delayed and held up as well. Well, according to Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, he is actually pretty much promising that he is going to have the Senate pass the bipartisan bill and the budget resolution bill with reconciliation instructions. Now, you probably wonder, what is a budget resolution bill with reconciliation instructions? It's pretty much just the first process. That's all it really is. And so we're going to see if this actually happens, but Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says this is going to be done before the Senate goes on recess, which is actually on August 8th. So we got a little bit of time, not much. We have about 2 weeks to get this done. Some experts are saying that this will be a very difficult task for the Senate. This will be tough for Democrats because they are on a time crunch. However, I am very hopeful they can get this done, because if they can't, it means they will most likely just go on to recess. They will not wait. They will just go to recess, come back in a month, I think on September 13th, and, well, we're probably not going to see much happen in September either. So there's a lot of things that are riding on the Senate at this time to get the bipartisan bill passed, get the budget resolution bill passed as well, so that can start to be worked on in the committees, and we can start to go to the debate. We can, we can go through the vote-a-rama, which is just ridiculous, but we're going to do that as well for a second time this year, and so we'll see what happens there. That will be interesting, and I will cover that also. But right now, both parties are saying we just need to get the bipartisan bill done. Mitch McConnell is actually in support of this. He is the Senate Minority Leader. Some said that he would not support this. However, he does. He does support a bipartisan bill regarding infrastructure, but it has to be pure infrastructure. So there's a lot of stuff happening, but this is one of the biggest things. Now, there are some people that do oppose this, that do oppose a bipartisan bill if it doesn't have public transit funding. And now, even though there's not a lot, some say that they would not support this. Even Democratic leaders right now According to the Washington Post, they're actually getting a hold of other senators to make them understand how this budget reconciliation bill will take up any leftover pieces of legislation. So just because the bipartisan bill doesn't have any or a certain piece of legislation included doesn't mean it's not going to pass. It just won't pass in that bill. So we're going to have to wait a little bit longer, probably sometime in September. But according to Nancy Pelosi, she is not going to bring a bipartisan bill to the floor of the House until the budget reconciliation bill passes the Senate. Not a budget resolution bill with reconciliation instructions. She specifically stated a budget reconciliation bill, which we are probably 30 to 45 days away from. So we're not going to see any bill until most likely the middle to end of September. And that doesn't have a lot of progressives very excited. What we do know right now is that while we continue to wait to see what Congress passes in the bipartisan bill, what they finally agree upon, and when the legislative text will come out, which some are saying it should be out possibly on Monday. If it is, I promise I will bring that to you as quickly as I can. But what we are hearing right now is Janet Yellen. She is the Treasury Secretary. She is actually telling Congress that they need to raise the debt ceiling and they need to do it immediately, or they will risk, the Treasury will actually be required to make extraordinary measures. And this is going to happen on August 2nd. This is not good. This is not good. Now, we've done this before. We've been here before. However, and seriously what this means is the Treasury, they're just going to allow pretty much no more sales of state and local bonds. That's pretty much it. So it means we're going to run out of money. But this isn't something that is something that's new. Janet Yellen has been here before. This is something that we've done in the past. However, we've never done this during a time like this when we're fighting through a pandemic. We're on the cusp of a housing pretty much fiasco, crisis, eviction crisis, unemployment issues, right? We got an economic growth that is slowing down. We are the pandemic, the COVID situation got better. We were looking great. Everybody took their masks off. Everybody was celebrating, hurrah. And now we're pretty much going the opposite direction. Cases are going up. The CDC and the health experts are telling us to, be careful. They're cautioning us, telling us to continue to wear a mask, social distance, get the vaccine. That's what we're hearing. Well, I got more updates on this vaccine situation at the end of this video, and you do not want to miss this one. Now, to make matters worse, Congress can't just go to their normal habits of, hey, let's just send more money to those people. Let's just send more money to that part of the country and the economy, and let's just prop it up. Let's boost it for a little while until everybody goes back to work. They can't do that. They don't have the money. And if they don't have the money available to them, it's not an option. Well, we are just 8 days away from an eviction moratorium. This is something that lawmakers are saying, we fully funded this. We provided almost $50 billion to go to eviction protections, to renters assistance, and we pretty much put it onto the states saying, get this money out. Well, the reports are indicating that less than 7% of this money has even gone out. Actually, it's about $7 billion, but that's about 3%, okay? Or something like that. Or no, $3 billion has gone out. That's about 7%. Okay, just want to clarify that. Now, the reason why these numbers are so important is because that means there's over 95% of the money, or 93% of the money, still needs to go out. It's still sitting there within the states. And many worry that this is going to be the start of a mass eviction crisis. And this will begin to, put more people out there on the streets. Homelessness is just going to increase, and as homelessness increases, the chances of COVID spreading even faster is much higher. What we know, according to multiple experts, and one report, they are saying that 80% of the 6 million renters behind in rent currently live in counties with rapid Delta variant case growth. So what we're hearing is that about 80%, which is a lot of people, 80% of the 6 million renters behind in rent live in places where COVID is actually starting to surge again. Well, if all these people were to pretty much be evicted instantly and start living on the street or have to go in and live in other houses, chances are COVID is going to spread much faster. And if people start going to other people's houses, that's friends and family members, what's going to happen is eventually they will have to leave. And as they leave those houses, because it's just going to be a temporary stay, what's going to happen is they're going to go to another person's house, another area, another county, and it's just going to start to spread. It's going to turn into a wildfire. Experts say this is something that we need to avoid. So, multiple lawmakers at this time are actually asking the Biden administration to extend the CDC federal eviction moratorium just long enough. Okay? Just long enough. Think about this. They're asking for them to extend it just long enough for the remaining $40 billion to get out the door. Well, how long is just long enough? That's my question, is how long is this? Is it a week? Is it 2 weeks? The states have had 6 months, almost 8 months. 8 months to send out this money, and they haven't been able to do that job. It was a simple task. Give the American people this $50 billion so they can pay their back rent. So they can pay it. Give it to the landlord so the landlord can pay their mortgage, can pay their property taxes, can pay all this stuff, and we could actually get the economy back to where it once was. It's not happening. So, we will see what happens here, but one thing that we are hearing right now is that states are trying to provide these funds as quickly as possible. However, they're not having a lot of success, and some are worried that if they do not have success here, this will actually contribute to an economic slowdown. This will contribute to the eviction moratorium or the eviction crisis. This is going to contribute to homelessness, the surge in COVID cases. This whole thing gets kind of balled up into one big pile, one big mess, right? So here's what we know. Lawmakers are asking for another stimulus check because they say the child tax credit payments, they are missing the lowest income earners. They're missing them because they don't file taxes. So they will never get that money, but they need the money. The child tax credit payments do not work for them. Or the lower income earners that do not have children, or even the people on Social Security that continue to live under the poverty line. They're saying these people and these groups need more money. The only way to get that money to them is with a stimulus check. But here's one thing I just want to say. People that do not get the child tax credit, the reason they don't get the child tax credit is because they do not file taxes, or they haven't went through that the portal and put in their information for the non-filers. Well, if they don't get the child tax credit, they will not get the stimulus check either. And so here's the issue, and this is what one expert was saying earlier on this week, is that we have to educate the American people. Spend some of this billions of dollars and educate the people with what is actually out there to them. And I remember last year, I was telling everybody, go and get the EIDL loans. Go and get them. Go and get them, because it's $1,000, easy money. You're self-employed. You've seen a little bit of a struggle with your business. Get this EIDL loan, this payment advance of up to $1,000. Use it for your business. I told people, oh, you're self-employed and you used to drive for Lyft. Well, you could probably qualify for unemployment benefits. Many of you listened, many of you did it, and that was what was able to keep you afloat. Pay for your home, pay for your car payments, put food on the table. Okay? That was because of that. And I'm not saying I'm the best educator, but at least I'm doing something and putting out the effort to get you guys educated on what is there for you. Because right now the federal government is doing a horrible job of exactly that. And that's exactly what multiple lawmakers are pointing at. Is why are we providing all this money, but yet the money isn't going to the people that need it the most? The money's going to the middle income earners, right? The middle class, which is great. I think everybody needs the money, but the low income earners, the lower income, they are really struggling and they're not getting anything. So while we're talking about stimulus and stimulus checks, there's actually a new stimulus check that's coming out. This is something that will be coming out probably within the next about month and a half. What we're hearing is that teachers are about to get they're about a month away of getting a thank you stimulus check from the federal government or from multiple states. So the state of Florida and Georgia, these are two states that I know of right now that will be giving their educators a $1,000 stimulus check. Now, the purpose behind this is not to say, oh, you worked during the pandemic, here's some money for your troubles. That's not the purpose of this check. Originally, that's what some people thought, that this was hazard pay. However, it's not. What we are hearing is that the purpose of this check is actually just to entice these teachers and educators to retain their services. That's it. Instead of seeing a teacher decide to quit and go off into some other profession or job, they're going to pretty much bribe the teachers to, hey, stay on board, let me give you this $1,000 stimulus check. Well, if a teacher wasn't expected to leave, they weren't planning on it, this $1,000 stimulus check is actually just a boost. Well, more states are actually looking into this as we speak, but the big news here is coming from the retail industry, not from the education department. What we are hearing right now, many retailers, so if you're a teacher and you live in Florida or Georgia, first off, congratulations, you'll probably get a stimulus check very soon, about $1,000. But if you're not, let's say you worked in the retail industry, here's what we're seeing. Many retailers were pushed by their employers to pretty much work. They were not given a thank you check. They weren't given hazard pay. Many were not even given an hourly bonus. We didn't see it. However, many lawmakers have stated that it should be up to the government to force these businesses to pay for hazard pay, to thank their employees for everything that they have done, and thank their employees for keeping the business afloat during a pandemic when we saw many businesses completely shut down and go under. Well, some are saying that this hazard pay or this thank you check, it should be up to the employer. Others say it should not be up to government officials to dictate who has to pay this money or not. So, what we're hearing right now is that some states are considering hazard pay for workers. Okay, and I just want to bring this up because I'm not saying hazard pay is coming, but this is something that is in the discussions. The problem right now is that some say this is not a good look for the state to come out and dictate who has to pay and who doesn't. Some are saying that the employer must decide for themselves. This is also the same reason why the federal government didn't actually step in and require all employers to pay hazard pay like they were planning on doing with the CARES Act, okay? Or was it the HEROES Act? I think it was the HEROES Act. So, what you need to keep in mind, just because hazard pay isn't coming, just because you might not see it, just keep this in mind. Employers are looking into this. Now, I'm not saying every single employer is. You may work for somebody that doesn't care. But you have the power, and at least you did have the power just a few months ago. And I stated this before, that while you had the power, ask for a raise. Tell your employer, hey, I've been working through this pandemic. I could have gone on unemployment. I could have collected more money on unemployment than I did working for you. But I didn't. And I think I should be rewarded. Many of you actually went through this process, you did this, and you got raises. First off, congratulations to you guys. If you didn't get a raise, it's not too late. Consider asking for one. You may not be able to go on unemployment, and that's fine, but ask your employer for a raise. As an employer, I've used many different employees in the past. Some were virtual, some I actually had in person, but if somebody asked me for a raise and they've been doing a good job, I give them a raise. It wasn't a negotiation. It was, hey, I need you more than you need me. I'm going to give you a raise. So consider asking. Now, right now that the CDC is stating that all vaccinated people should continue to wear a mask or should at least consider it when you're out in public, well, I want to bring this up to you. Those that are not vaccinated, they're being asked or being told to wear a mask. It's something that you should do. But nobody's asking for proof of who's been vaccinated and who hasn't. There's no vaccine passport. People aren't being required to show a vaccine card. So experts say that the reason why so many workers are quitting their jobs at this point is because of the risks they are taking with their lives and potentially contracting this virus, but they're not being rewarded for it. And this is one of the reasons why hazard pay at this time is being considered an important part of getting workers back to work. One thing that I can tell you right now, and you can look around and find these different businesses that are struggling. Their hours, they're actually kind of contracted. Maybe they used to be open from 8 in the morning to 6 o'clock in the evening, and now they work from 10 to 4. It's because they don't have the workforce. They don't have the employees. They don't have the customer base. So what you can do if these people are hiring, you can demand a larger wage. Now, something I want to just bring up at this time is that lawmakers are looking into this, okay? And here's something I just want to kind of put out there. Lawmakers over the past probably month and a half, maybe 2 months, have been looking into the fact that if we cannot get more people back into work, however we need to do it, whether we need to entice them or what have you, that's one of the first things. Get people back to work, give them a decent wage, talk to them about being vaccinated. And this is something that I mentioned earlier today, is that we're actually seeing some employers are letting their employees go because they haven't been vaccinated. And their customers are not coming in because they cannot force their employee to get vaccinated. So what do? You just let them go for the well-being of the customer. Now, I'm not saying this is something that every business is going to do. Many hospitals and clinics are already doing this. Some are actually being sued by their employees, saying that they were wrongfully terminated. But this is the world we live in. But speaking of vaccines, here's something I think is very interesting. Many experts were originally worried that the Biden administration has been pushing this vaccine so hard that eventually they're just going to say, you know what, every single American needs to get vaccinated. Well, I want to bring you this story because I have some proof that they're not going to do that just yet. Today, the White House press secretary, Jen Psaki, she said that President Biden and the Biden administration, they are not even mandating that their staff gets the vaccine right now. So they are not even required. People that are around President Biden every single day, they do not have to get the vaccine. The staff of White House officials, they do not have to get the vaccine. So if they were to recommend it at this time, it would be very counterproductive that they're going to tell all the American people, hey, go get the vaccine. It's going to keep you safe. But yet they're not even requiring it for their workers, their staff, the people inside the White House. So experts are saying that they look at this as a sign that there is no way the Biden administration will require masks for all Americans anytime soon if they won't even do it in the White House itself. But I thought this was something that was very interesting, and I just wanted to bring this up. I will continue to monitor this for you, but yeah, just what are your thoughts on this? I think this is extremely interesting. But that's what we know right now. As I know more, I promise I'll come back on later on today and update you on any new information and updates. Just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing so that I can continue to keep you updated on everything that's going on, and I'll see you guys on the next one.